Last trading day of the week, and we'll look at the different markets and what the markets would tell about the week. First, let's begin from the equity markets as Asian market struggle amid tariff uncertainty. Asian equity market lacks clear direction today as investors remain cautious ahead of next week's deadline for potential tariff hikes. Sentiment weakened after US President Donald Trump announced plans to begin issuing letters on trade matters later today, potentially setting unilateral tariff rates. And now regarding the markets, let's first go to the Asian stock market and see what the price is this morning. The Asian stock market. Asian stock market, after relativity with the tariff uncertainty, indicates that JP225 and Japanese shares, the price level stands at 39,200 and 39,621 index level. The Japanese shares falling by 165 basis points this morning. Meanwhile, Chinese shares, the stock market, the Shanghai stock, 3,472 index points, are gaining 11 basis points this morning. Other Chinese stocks, this year's SI 300 as well as the Shanghai 50 also gaining this morning. And similarly, the CH50 are gaining, but Sensex is downward by 23 basis points at 83,217 index point this morning. And quickly, let's also look at African stock market and the direction that comes with it. Beginning today's conversation with the equity. African stock market indicates the price of a Nigerian stock market at 120,977 index points, gaining 637 basis points this morning for the Nigerian stock market, and 0.53% appreciation. On a weekly basis, the Nigerian stock market has gained 0.16%. Also, South African stock, the two stocks from South Africa, we can see SA All as well as SA 40 are gaining relatively this morning. The first gaining 63 basis points and the second 108 basis points. Egyptian stocks, EGX 30, at a price level of 32,820 index points, are gaining 113. So regarding the tariff, Trump plans tariff letters and dishes complex deals. President Donald Trump said on Thursday he plans to send letters to countries starting Friday, July 4th, informing them of the tariff they must pay to sell goods in the U.S. Bypassing the process of negotiating individual trade deals to send a letter out saying what tariff they're going to be paying, he said, calling it much easier. The move comes ahead of a July 9th deadline to reimpose broad tariffs after a 90-day pause in a framework with China. Trump aims for a base 10% tariff with higher rates for countries running trade deficit with the US. However, he ruled out extending the deadline, citing the difficulty of negotiating with over 170 countries. As you're looking at the world of business from the foreign scene, the European Central Bank signals caution amid trade risks and cooling inflation. ECB officials delivered an eighth straight interest rate cut last month to safeguard inflation expectations and prevent unwarranted tightening in financial conditions. The minutes of the June 3rd to 5th meeting showed conditions where persistent trade tensions likely to continue and possibly intensify. Amid this uncertainty and the risks of inflation shocks in either direction, officials emphasize the importance of retaining flexibility and avoiding firm forward guidance. A July pause has become increasingly likely, with most officials signaling a preference to wait for clearer data and development in global trade talks before acting again. Inflation is now projected to fall below the European Central Bank's 2% target later this year and remain subdued for around 18 months due to a strong euro, lower energy prices, and cheap imports from China. In Africa, Kenya is set to receive a 3.4 billion a 3.4 billion shilling loan from Israel to finance a modern missile defense system in a move aimed at bolstering the country's air security amid escalating regional terror threats. The Spider system, developed by Israel, is a primary focus of this equipment upgrade, providing mobile aerial threat interception capabilities. This partition and partnership aligns with Kenya's strategic push to modernize its military amid increasing regional security challenges. An update from Kenya's Treasury also notes that a 3.4 billion shilling loan from Israel will cover nearly 70% of the Defense Ministry development budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Still on Kenya. Kenya is losing up to 194 billion shilling annually due to corruption, illicit financial flows, and inefficient public spending, according to a new report by the African Development Bank. And despite challenges, the African Development Bank projects Kenya's economy to grow by 5% in 2025, albeit with persistent inequality weavers are causing significant financial drain estimated at 650 billion shilling per year. Still in Africa, rather. Zimbabwe's richest man and the world's 10th richest man are pushing for Africa's first AI factory. Jason Hang, the 10th richest person in the world, and Strive Masiyiwa, Zimbabwe's richest man, have collaborated on establishing an artificial intelligence AI factory in Africa, the first of its kind. Installation in South Africa. Viable billionaires companies, Masiyiwa's Cassava Technologies and Hang's Nvidia, are one of the largest companies in America. Currently, by valuation, the construction of Africa's first AI factory is now in full effect. Currently, graphics processing units, GPUs, have been developed to South Africa, deployed to South Africa rather, the first recipients of the units in Africa. Cassava Technologies, the Pan-African tech companies, aims to roll out NVIDIA's accelerated computing system and AI software across key markets including South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, and Morocco. In Nigeria, the managing director of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, Bengalade, has said the agency engaged foreign tracers to help locate hidden assets held by daters. He made this known at an interactive session with media executives in Lagos on Thursday. Alade said that obligors and daters of the corporation had diminished and damaged the Nigerian economy because they never intended to repay the loans they borrowed from various banks. And now to the power sector. The Nigerian government, through the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, has announced the sale of the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC, for 100 billion naira. Bengala, the managing director of AMCON, disclosed this. According to him, the 100 billion naira represents AMCON's 60% stake in the company, which is what AMCON divested. The remaining 40% stake is held by the Bureau of Public Enterprise. He noted that AMCON would soon hand over the power firm to the rightful bidder. Alade, however, did not disclose the name of the company that acquired the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company. In January 2022, AMCON took over Ibadan Disco following a judgment by a federal high court on September 8, 2021 over default in the loan service agreement. Meanwhile, MTN Nigeria and emerging market communication company Nine Mobile have said the national roaming partnership, which affords both of them to share their racial infrastructure, will take effect next week. The two telecommunication operators announced this at a joint press conference in Lagos, saying they went into partnership to boost their networks and give their customers quality service. Aiming at the press conference, the Chief Executive Officer of Nine Mobile, Mr. Femi Bambe, said roaming partnership would be for 3 years and is expected to benefit both parties and their customers. Bamibe said by the agreement, Nine Mobile would be able to deploy its network in areas where its coverage does not reach, leveraging on MTN infrastructure in those areas. Still in Nigeria, the federal government has fixed July 23rd and July 24, 2025 for a national stakeholder forum to address mounting concerns over petrol pricing and supply dynamics in the downstream sector amid growing agitation by the independent marketers for price regulation. The planned summit, organized by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, is expected to bring together industry operators, marketers, refiners, and officials to deliberate on petroleum pricing standards, feedstock adequacy, and strategies to stabilize the deregulated market. The Executive Director of Hydrocarbon Processing Plants, Installation, and Transportation Infrastructure at the NMDPRA, Francis Ogare, confirmed the dates and summit at the just concluded 24th Nigeria Oil and Gas Energy Week held in Abuja. The director further stressed the need for dialogue to build a resilient pricing system in the post-subsidy era. There has been agitation and concerns expressed by petroleum marketers over sudden changes in the price of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, without prior notice by the Dangote refinery. Meanwhile, non-oil exports jumps 78% amid data gap concerns. Nigeria's non-oil export value in the first quarter of 2025 was 3.17 trillion naira, extending an upward streak since the fourth quarter of 2023. The stakeholders laud the performance, but they are bothered that data gaps continue to plague the sector's assessment and tame the non-oil trade growth surge. And despite Nigeria's non-oil export posting a 78.07% year-on-year growth in the first quarter of 2025, stakeholders have raised concerns that the figures do not fully reflect the actual value of goods leaving the country, particularly due to the informal nature of a large chunk of trade activities. Foreign trade data for the first quarter of 2025 as reported by the National Bureau of Statistics indicates that non-oil exports increased from 1.78 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2024 to 3.17 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2025, accounting for 15.38% of total exports, up from 9.28% the previous year. This represents a nominal increase of 1.39 trillion naira in value, signaling what appears to be a steadily growing diversification of Nigeria's export base away from crude oil. Meanwhile, no grid collapse incidents in the first quarter of 2025, according to NEC. There was no power system collapse, no disturbance in the first quarter of 2025, a major improvement in grid stability, according to the latest report released by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. The report, which assesses grid performance, market remittance metering, customer service, and safety, highlighted the Regulatory Commission's push for enhanced system coordination by the system operator, despite some operational challenges. However, while frequency and voltage readings stayed within the stress tolerance bands, they still fell outside optimal operating threshold, raising concerns. The Commission noted. The development follows years of persistent grid collapses, causing blackouts nationwide. In 2024, the grid collapsed 12 times. Despite the operational improvements on the grid, the report revealed that power distribution companies continue to underperform in several other areas. The Commission reported that the 11 discos remitted a total of 414.26 billion naira to the electricity market in the first quarter of 2025, representing a 95.86% remittance performance, a slight rise from the 92.68% recorded in the previous session. And now we'll go on a quick break, and when we're back, Business 360 continues, looking at global economic standings of the markets and the market itself. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It is Business 360, and my name is Blyden Okem. And now let's look at our global economic standings regarding the markets. As oil holds decline, as traders await OPEC Plus decision. The retail crude oil futures held its recent decline to around $66.8 per barrel today, as investors weigh the potential for OPEC Plus to further increase oil output at a meeting later this week. The group is expected to bring back another 411,000 barrels per day in August, raising concerns about a supply glut. On the trade front, the recent US-Vietnam agreement lends some support to prices, but broader uncertainty remains as major partners like the EU and Japan have yet to secure trade deals ahead of the July 9 tariff pause deadline. And now let's go to the market itself, the energy market, and afterwards the metal and agricultural market. The energy market. Energy market begins with a price of US crude, a crude price at 66 US dollars per barrel, falling by 0.38 upon this morning on a weekly basis. A US crude had gained 1.5%. A Brent, which represents Nigeria's price benchmark, price level is 68 US dollars per barrel, falling also by 0.47 point mark. But on a weekly basis, a Brent crude had gained 2.14%. And now to the metals. The metal market indicates the price of gold at 3,340 US dollars per ounce, gaining 14.67 points, 0.44 percentage appreciation weekly. It gained 2.19%. Silver also gained 2.3%, and copper price was felled over the week, a negative 1.28%. Current price at 5.0034 US dollars per pound, and steel price dropping 11 points this morning at 3,039 Chinese yuan per ton. The price of steel on a weekly basis, it has gained 2.6%. And now to other commodities, agricultural commodities. Agricultural commodities indicates the price of soybeans at 1,055 US dollars per bushel, gaining 4.5 points this morning on a weekly basis. A soybean gained 3.15%. And wheat price at 562 US dollars per bushel, falling this morning. But on a weekly point of view, it gained 7.92%. Lumber also falling this morning. The price of palm oil stands at 4,075 Malaysian ringgit per ton, falling by 18 points. But from a weekly spectrum, it gained 1.57%. And now to the financial market as Naira gains against dollar across official and black markets. The Naira recorded appreciation against the dollar at official and parallel exchange markets. The Central Bank of Nigeria's exchange showed that it firmed up slightly to 1,525 Naira 83 kobo against the dollar on Thursday, and 1,526 Naira 15 kobo exchange on Wednesday. It is shown that the Naira strengthened by 32 kobo against the dollar on a day-to-day basis, and this is the fourth straight time the Naira is appreciating against the dollar at the official market this week. At the parallel foreign exchange market, the Naira strengthened by 10 Naira against the dollar to close at 1,560 Naira per dollar on Thursday. Quickly, let's go to the market. A US dollar fast against the Naira, and afterwards we'll look at the Euro USD market and cryptocurrency market as we're set to close. The US dollar market against the Naira. Our price level stands at 1,528 Naira, 21 kobo to the US dollar. The dollar falling by 6.16 points against the Naira. Naira doing quite well in the market this morning. The majors are falling against the Naira. And the Euro against the Naira, 1,799 Naira. The Naira also gaining over the Euro falling by 6 points, the pound falling by 9 points against the Naira. And quickly, let's look at the cryptocurrency market as we close. Our crypto market indicates a price level of 108,953 US dollars, falling by 695 points this morning, a negative 0.63% on a weekly basis. Bitcoin has gained a 1.72%. Ether weekly also gained 5.31%, but on today's market, it's fallen by 39 points. And Binance, Cardano, Solana, Ripple, all on the fall this morning. Crypto market seems to be on the negative trend to close the week. Well, it's a story of the market and the direction that comes with it this morning. And here we draw the curtain in today's edition of Business 360. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Blyden Uken, and thank you for watching.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.